Chanel, a name that echoes through the halls of luxury, elegance, and power. But behind the glamour lies a story darker than the finest black silk. Coco Chanel went from an orphan with nothing but a needle and a thread to one of the world's most powerful women. Her vision changed fashion forever. Through surviving 2 world wars to her controversial ties to the Nazis, Chanel's story is filled with betrayal, scandal, and untold truths. This is the ruthless, shocking journey of the woman behind Chanel, the woman who built an empire and risked losing everything along the way. Born in 1883, Gabrielle Chanel's early years were marked by hardship. Her father, a traveling salesman, abandoned the family when she was just 12, and her mother, a laundress, passed away shortly after. At the age of 12, Gabrielle was sent to Oster-Opbazin Abbey, a convent orphanage. There, under the watchful eyes of the nuns, Chanel learned the discipline and resourcefulness that would shape her future. And most importantly, she learned to sew. This skill would become the thread that connected her humble beginnings to her future as a fashion icon. Though the conditions were harsh, with cold dormitories and little room for tenderness, Gabrielle's time at the convent instilled in her a resilience that defined her life. It was here, away from the comforts of family and wealth, that she found the strength to forge her own path. At the age of 18, Gabrielle left the orphanage, stepping into the unknown. The world outside was vast and uncertain, but with only her determination and the sewing skills she'd honed, she was ready to begin her journey. This moment marked the first step in a life that would see her rise from orphan to one of the most influential women in the fashion history. Chanel's journey to becoming a fashion icon didn't happen overnight. At 20, she took a job as a seamstress, but rather than simply learning the ropes, she sought every opportunity to hone her craft and rise above her humble circumstances. The world of fashion may have seemed distant from her beginnings, but Chanel wasn't content to remain in the background. To support herself, she began singing in cabarets. It was in one of these clubs that she met Etienne Balsan, a wealthy polo player who introduced her to Parisian high society. Living with Balsan in his lavish chateau, Chanel was exposed to luxury and privilege, but she quickly grew frustrated with the fashion world's constraints. Women were still bound by corset and overly ornate dresses, designed more for decoration than comfort. Chanel's mind, however, began to work differently. She envisioned a new kind of fashion, one that was not only chic and elegant, but comfortable too. Balsan's influence on Chanel was significant, but it was his connection that would prove invaluable. It was during this period that she met Arthur Capel, an Englishman who not only supported her emotionally, but also believed in her potential. Capel's backing enabled Chanel to open her first shop in Paris in 1910, focusing on hats. This partnership set her on a path that would forever change the fashion world. At high society events, Chanel made a bold statement by wearing a man's tailored suit instead of a frilly dress. It was unconventional, shocking, and the perfect introduction to her new vision of fashion. Chanel wasn't satisfied with merely making hats. She had bigger dreams. In 1913, she opened a boutique in Deauville and launched her first collection of ready-to-wear clothes made from jersey fabric, a material once reserved for men's underwear. This fabric was soft, stretchy, and comfortable, qualities unheard of in women's fashion at the time. Chanel's designs, simple yet elegant, were a stark contrast to the restrictive corsets and elaborate gowns that dominated the fashion world. She was offering women something they had never had before, fashion that didn't restrict their movement. Her designs were an instant success, as women flocked to her store, eager for the comfort and style she offered. Chanel's innovative use of jersey fabric and her focus on practicality marked the beginning of a fashion revolution. She famously declared, I want to give women the possibility to laugh, eat, and breathe without necessarily having to faint. With World War I on the horizon, Chanel adapted once again. As women entered the workforce and needed practical, durable clothing, she turned her jersey designs into versatile, functional pieces. The simplicity and comfort of her designs became a symbol of modernity, and by the 1920s, Chanel's influence was undeniable. She had successfully refined what women's fashion could be, setting the stage for a lasting legacy in the fashion world. Chanel's relationship with Arthur Capel was deep and complicated. By 1918, Capel, the man who had supported her career and had been her lover, married another woman. Despite this, Chanel continued to work closely with him, both professionally and personally. She never truly let go of her love for Capel, and this decision to marry left her heartbroken. But the real tragedy came in 1919 when Capel died in a car accident. His death hit Chanel hard, leaving an emotional void that she would never fully recover from. Capel's passing, though devastating, pushed Chanel to channel her grief into something monumental. In 1921, she created Chanel No. 5, a fragrance that would go on to define her legacy. The perfume wasn't a product only, it was her statement. The complex, elegant scent broke with tradition, becoming a symbol of modern femininity. Chanel No. 5 was an instant success, and it went on to become one of the best-selling perfumes in history. Creating this iconic fragrance allowed Chanel to immortalize her love for Capel, but it also marked her assertion of strength and independence after such a tragic loss. When World War II erupted, Chanel's life took a dark and controversial turn. She closed her fashion houses and retreated to the Ritz Hotel in Paris, which had become the headquarters of the German occupiers. It was here that Chanel became involved with Hans Gunther von Dinklich, a high-ranking Nazi officer. While some accused her of sympathizing with the Nazis, others argue that she was simply trying to survive in an extraordinary, turbulent, and dangerous time. The truth about her involvement remains shrouded in mystery. Was she a collaborator, a survivor, or something else entirely? Reports suggest that Chanel may have been recruited as a secret agent for the Nazis, using her connection with the British elite to gather intelligence. She allegedly attempted to broker peace negotiations between the Germans and the British, leveraging her friendship with Winston Churchill. But despite the intrigue and speculation surrounding her actions, Chanel was never officially charged with any crimes after the war. Her reputation, however, was severely tarnished. The accusations of collaboration haunted her post-war life, casting a long shadow over her career. The details of her wartime activities remain unclear, leaving many to debate whether she was a willing accomplice or a woman doing whatever she could to protect her business and survive. Regardless of the truth, the stain of these accusations stayed with Chanel, marking a dark chapter in her otherwise legendary career. After years of self-imposed exile in Switzerland, following World War II, Coco Chanel's career seemed to be over. Her reputation was in ruins, and her brand nearly destroyed. Yet, in 1954, as 71-year-old, she made a bold return to the fashion world. She reopened her boutique in Paris with a new collection, but the French media rejected her, still bitter about her wartime associations. They dismissed her designs as outdated. However, Chanel's resilience shone through. Her creation found a warm reception in America, where Hollywood stars and wealthy women embraced her elegant, timeless style. Celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor and Jackie Kennedy became loyal patrons, helping Chanel reclaim her position as a global icon. By the time of her death in 1971, Chanel had redefined modern fashion, with pieces like the little black dress and tweed suit became symbols of practicality and sophistication. Chanel's ability to reinvent herself after a public fall from grace demonstrated her enduring genius and unyielding determination. Today, Chanel's empire continues to thrive, with the brand worth billions. The Wertheimer family, who partnered with Chanel in the 1920s, still own the company, and her designs remain a symbol of luxury and sophistication. The House of Chanel is a global icon, influencing fashion across generations. But Chanel's legacy is not without controversy. Her involvement with the Nazis during World War II has left a dark shadow over her reputation. Was she a ruthless opportunist, or simply a woman doing what she could to survive in a brutal time? The debate over her wartime actions remain unresolved. Can we separate the creator from her actions? Can we admire her genius without condoning the choices she made? As Chanel once said, "I don't care what you think of me. I don't think about you at all." This quote encapsulates her ruthless genius and unyielding determination, qualities that both fueled her rise and contributed to her complex legacy. So what's your verdict on Coco Chanel? A groundbreaking visionary who changed the face of fashion, or a ruthless opportunist who navigated the dark chapters of history? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of one of fashion's most controversial figures, don't forget to like and subscribe for more compelling stories. Stay tuned for more explorations into the lives of history's most fascinating luxury brand personalities.